don't stumble. Everything is not falling. They will play the fall. I play. My neighbor press fall. This don't be fall apart.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to my Friday Hangout. My name is still Maazi Ezeoke. And this evening, we are going to have fun as usual, as it is my Friday Hangout. In this Hangout, we are going to look at serious national issues, but as usual, in a way and manner that makes us not to die as those who were watching football and died on the process. Nigerian matter, we no go fit carry am for her die. Suffer, we go take am. On that note, I say, everyone, those of you online, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, watching us now across the globe, welcome to this platform. If you haven't subscribed to this platform, by all means, do. If you have, for those of you that have, please ensure that you share with others. I have a very wonderful guest, a friend of this house. Many of you will love to see him and listen to him, a man whom you know so well. As the conversation progresses, I will be introducing Professor Femi Olufumilade, a professor of international relations, strategic studies director, Buratai Center for Contemporary Security Affairs. As you know, we're going to be talking and touching on security issues this evening. To start with, we will be looking at Niger State, that state where the governor had given an executive order that anybody who is seen exporting food out of the state will be dealt with. And by means of dealing with the individual or group of people means that your food will be confiscated and shared to the hungry poor. In the same Niger State, recall that on Monday, Nigerians woke up to their surprise seeing the people of Niger State protesting. Niger State, again, obviously, it's an APC state. Niger State is not an opposition state. Niger State, it is one of those states in northern Nigeria, and to say that Niger State is also the largest state in Nigeria. What it tells us is, people, irrespective of your religion, your landmass, your belief, hunger knows nobody. On that note, I bring the friend of the house, Professor Femi Olufumilade. You're welcome to Njenje Media TV. Professor? Prof, can you hear me? Prof, can you hear me? Okay, is Niger State the bread basket? Some of you are already asking questions. I think Professor is doing a little bit of willy willy. I think the network at his position is doing some willy willy to him. I hope you all can hear me loud and clear. We are going to be bringing Professor back again. Good evening, everyone. I see many people already watching us. So, Prof, you're back again. Can you hear me, Prof?
Yes.
Okay. So, as I said on my intro, I've introduced you as a friend of this house, and Prof is joining us from the obedient city of Edo. Prof, let's look at this government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as it concerns food security. Yesterday, the president tasked um, the responsible authorities that some grains should be brought out from the storage and distributed across Nigeria. Many analysts are already questioning how is he able to do that? How is he going to do that? Where are these grains stored? Are there actually grains stored? And who is going to pay for that? Because that runs into billions of naira. Now, let's start with the policy of this government as it concerns food security. Prof, what's your take?
As far as I'm concerned, I don't think the government has any policy on food security, because when you look at security in its holistic conception, you would agree with me that the government either it does not know what food security is about, or it is yet to put its act together in that regard. When you talk of food security in the Nigerian context, you are going to look at securing farms. If you are able to secure farms, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of farmers who have abdicated their positions in the rural areas will return. For now, in Benue State alone, which is called the food basket of the nation, if I'm to go by the statistics that former Governor Tom left before he relinquished power, the statistic was 1.5 million people in IDP camps, and majority of them are rural dwellers, farmers. They are still where they are. I've not heard of the president stepping in through any of the federal agencies to say, look, we want to move these farmers back to base. And you have them like that in other places, in Sokoto, in Kebbi, in Niger State, in Zamfara, in Taraba, in Southern Kaduna, and so on and so forth. And the planting season is coming. It's just around the corner. So if the government is serious about food security, it's not enough to say we are going to cultivate 400,000 acres of land and we are providing inputs. That is like putting the cart before the horse. The first thing to do is to secure the farmlands. And in doing that, the first set of people to mobilize should be those who have been traditionally farmers, who have been displaced. It's not only in the north. There are farmers in Oyo State who have moved to the cities. There are farmers in Ekiti State, in Ondo State, who have moved to the cities. Only yesterday, there was a protest in Oyo State's second largest city, next to Ibadan, which is Ogbomoso. And what was it about? The women were protesting that those of them who are farmers, the herdsmen have chased them out of their farms. They are now in Ogbomoso town. You know, so if you are serious about food security, you go back to basics. Those who are existing farmers who have their farmlands, you don't need to acquire new farmlands for them. Their farmlands are there and they have been abdicated. And they are more than what you are even saying you want to cultivate. It's more than, you are talking of over 1 million hectares abandoned. Secure those places first. Enable the farmers to go back to their homesteads. Provide them with security. Then you can then give them support to rebuild their homes. Then the farming inputs you are talking about, that's when it will have meaning. Those who are traditionally farmers are unable to go to their farms. Is it those who have not been into farming, the youths and maybe some other people who are looking for jobs, and then that you are going to mobilize to go there when those who own the areas have abandoned them? So it doesn't make any sense to me. They don't know. I concluded that they don't know what they are talking about. They just talk for public relations, you know. It sounds nice in their ears. So 400,000 new fresh acres will be cultivated. How are you going to do it? If you tell me I should come and cultivate farms in Orire local government in Okeogun now, where people have also protested because of this same set of people chasing farmers out of their homesteads nationwide. Is that, will I want to go when those who own the place have abandoned their farms? Those who know the terrain. Is it me who is a city dwellers that we say the government is, through the help of the state government, they are making some hundreds of acres available. They will give us farming inputs. I want to take advantage. If I know somebody who wants to do that, dear to me, I will warn him not to try it. So we are not going to, their plan is going to fail. There is no doubt. I don't have any doubt in my mind. They are not going to continue, except they start giving them bogus figures. Maybe they release money for those things, or they release farm inputs, and people who are dishonest, give them feedback that, yes, we have deployed these things. And then at the end of the day, you start harvesting nothing. The problem is not that we don't have enough capacity to feed the country. The problem is that farmers are abandoning farms. They are abandoning farms. So instead of you dissipating energy about looking for so number of acres to cultivate, help those who have land, who are farmers, who have abandoned over 1 million hectares of land, arable land, farmland. Help them to go back to their farms. Then I will know you are serious. So that is one. Another thing, when you have done that, then we can begin to talk about how making farming inputs affordable. The greatest drawback is access road to most of these farming communities. I have a friend who ventured into a particular community during dry season. They were clearing the land, they cleared the land, then they went to plant cassava. He was thinking of that he would do cassava chips and export for starch and all that. Unknown to him, the road to that farm settlement is hell in rainy season. By the time the rainy season came in full force, he told me that he has abandoned the cassava, and that his parting words to the community is, don't be afraid to enter my farm. Pick whatever you want to pick there. Because the cost of evacuating whatever he had there to come to the city was going to make a mincemeat of whatever profit he was hoping to make. The road to that place was horrible. The moment they hear that that's where you are going, the transporters will say no, they are not going. So he should take a cue from President Babangida's approach to rural development and agric development. There was this Directorate of Road, Directorate of Food, Rural Roads and Infrastructure, Directorate of Food, Rural Roads and Infrastructure, DFRI. It should, in liaison with state and local governments, identify key food producing areas that have infrastructural deficit, and then give needed support to open up those areas. If possible, provide feeder roads that will at least survive the rainy season. And as a long-term measure, provide third road. If that is all he's able to do nationwide to where food is available, he will have solved the problem 70%. Because the people are happy.
Prof, let me pick your brain on this. There is this report. I mean, don't lose your train of thought, but it aligns with what you're saying. This is from World Food Program.
I'm with you.
It says, yes, this is from World Food Program, where it says that 4.4 million people are food insecure in Northeast Nigeria alone. 37% of people nationwide live below the poverty line. Now, there is then this highlighted area that is very, very staggering. And it says, I read, conflict and insecurity, rising inflation, and the impact of climate crisis continue to drive hunger in Nigeria, with 26.5 million people across the country projected to face acute hunger. Underline that word, acute hunger, in the June stroke August 2024 lean season. This is a staggering increase from the 18.6 million people food insecure at the end of 2023. Now, looking at these numbers, one would then ask, considering the fact that when this report was, brought out, the dollar has not gone crazy the way and manner it is today. The insecurity has not really probably increased the way it is today. Considering what we now know in February 2024, just opposing it to this report, do we have any good outlook for Nigeria economy and our food security at all?
Like I said repeatedly, the outlook is not good. I'm afraid if care is not taken, we are going to be importing yams and gari. Of course, we already import palm oil. We may add gari, yam flour to the mix. As a matter of fact, we are already importing fresh tomato, pepper, onions from Benin Republic. A market woman spoke with me 2 days ago and said a Hausa trader who used to bring tomato and these other vegetables from the north told her that the hazard of going up north to bring it is too much, that the chances that you will survive it is 50-50, that all the tomatoes, the bulk of it that you are now seeing in Lagos are being brought in from Benin Republic now. That's what she told me. How true that is, I don't know. Because he said many of the boys that normally go to do farming in the north when farming season is coming, that you see them disappearing from the south.
Trucks who come to park or buy foodstuffs from our.
Sorry, continue, Prof.
They are
Are you
not
still
going
there? Sorry,
anywhere
continue.
anymore. So many of them are already, here for good. Either to some of them who are security guards, some of them who are Mebaro, you will see them abandoning those things. They are going up now during the farming season because all hands will be on deck. He said, didn't we obtain an inch? He said, because where is the farm? The one that are even they are not allowed to enter their farms, that they are paying taxes. Those who will be allowed will pay taxes to bandits to enter their own farms to do cultivation. When it comes to harvesting, they also pay. So the outlook is not good. And the government doesn't seem to be strategic. You see, when you are not strategic in anything you are doing, you are bound to suffer failure. If the government is strategic, there will be a clear-headed articulation of the problem of food insecurity. And it will be segmented. Number one is in the value chain, the production point is undergoing serious challenge because of
Okay, Prof. I think your internet probably has frozen. Are you still there? Let me remove you and bring you back and see. Prof, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I think your internet has frozen. Okay, let's see if Prof will be back. But on that note, obviously, you guys have heard what Prof is saying. We're going to drive this conversation further. We are actually going to look and pick his brain as to what he thinks is happening in Niger State. We're going to let him lend his voice and say one or two things regarding the video that has emanated from Niger State. If there are greater consequences, should Nigerians actually worry as a result of that video? When we come back, let's just go for this break.
ABC Nigeria, Nigeria from top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom.
This one like today is all tumbling. I'm beautiful father. Everything is not funny. They will play with fun. I play. My neighbor press ball. He throws the ball apart.
So, Nigeria from top to bottom. No one would ever believe that there was a time Nigeria was on top. There was a time, not over a decade ago, that dollar was actually 10% or even less of what is being sold today. 10% of 1,500 naira on the average is 150 naira. Many of us still remember like yesterday, just barely 10 years ago, that the APC has really brought Nigeria from top to bottom. As the time APC took over, dollar was 166 naira, slightly over 150, but has crashed to 100 and 1,500 naira. That is on that side. That is the essence of these Nigeria moving from top to bottom. And someone said on a Twitter space that elections have consequences. Those that vote, whatever we vote for.
All right. Have you voted?
I'm voted, yeah.
Okay, so
I'm happiness, I'm voted, yeah.
tell me your feeling after voting today.
Yeah, after voting, I'm feeling okay. What I want, I get it on the result. I'm getting the party I want is the one going on. Thank you for that.
What are you expecting from this?
So some people, after voting, after intimidating others, they thought that it was like a party. Yes, they've done their party and everything is fine. No, it's not fine. We have seen it. There are consequences. People in states that are controlled by APC, that tells us a lot that people are now really struggling, barely struggling to eat, to the point that a sitting governor would now invoke an executive order to say there is not going to be shipment of food outside the state. And we are still in this federation. I hope that Prof is able to join us back again. Quickly, let me ring him back and see what is happening. Just please bear with us. Let's find out from Prof what's actually is the matter. Let's sorry about that, but let's find out what's actually is the matter. Okay, so people, I do not know if he's able to join us, but if he's not able to join us, let's carry on. Okay, he's back now. Okay, Prof, I think your internet booted you out.
Yes, and after I'd even thought I was in, reading comments there, I didn't know I needed to click join again. The moment I saw myself on the screen, I thought I was in.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Glad you're back now. So, Prof, obviously you left for a while, but let me again take your submission to this. I know you may have seen this video, right? Let me play this video for you.
Trucks who come to park or buy foodstuffs from our villagers in bulk should be halted for now. We have stopped mass purchase from our local market in all our local government from now henceforth until further notice. Anybody found doing that, we have given security agencies go ahead to confiscate those trucks and share the food to the people. Thank you.
Now, as a result of
I know the
the food
video you are talking
insecurity,
about. That's the governor of Niger State giving order that
yes.
the food traders that come to Niger State to buy in trucks should be disallowed henceforth. And I think he's saying that because, you know, there was a protest about 4 days ago led by women over food shortage and rising cost of living. And their concern was the government wasn't doing the needful. So I think that was a response to that. He feels that that is what is causing food to be expensive in his state. The fact that what they should be consuming is being taken out. The correctness of that, well, time will tell. But that is just what he thought would help, that at least if the food is domiciled within Niger State, they will have to sell. And if they have to sell, they will have to bend over backward to sell at the prices that the people can afford.
Now, many people have faulted that pronouncement. One of the, or rather, let me take two of the argument. One is that is Niger State able to produce everything that they will eat? If there are remnants, who is going to buy those remnants from these farmers? Two, what will be the consequences if every other state surrounding Niger State decides to do the same thing that Niger State has done? You think they can survive
Well,
that?
like I said, in an experiment, I can see the farmers themselves. You know, some of these farmers, they took loans to do the farming. Some of them are
Mhm.
paid bandits to go and cultivate their farms. They are paid bandits to harvest. So they need uh, to sell their food at a price that will take care
A
of the
profit.
capital input and leave a margin of
Exactly.
profit. So
Mhm.
if you are now coercing or compelling them that they must sell in Niger State, I don't think they will, because of patriotism, go into bankruptcy, sell at a loss, except you, the governor, is going to give them subsidy to cover their losses and leave a margin of profit. It's a knee-jerk reaction to the problem the governor is confronting. Since he came into office, he has never witnessed a spectacle of street protest. And to make it more fearful, this was led by
Again, that you can see that Nigeria internet is really dealing with Prof. Prof, I've told you many times, I think it's time you move down to start using what many of us use now, the satellite internet. That might actually cure this malady that you have. Obviously, you have, okay, let me see. Prof, are you back? No, it's still frozen. So, like I said, you've heard what he said. And but I think here that, you know, just like as election has consequences, these type of, in his, if I may borrow his word, knee-jerk reaction also have consequences. There are some states that may want to begin to go and do the same thing that he's done, you know, preventing them to um, their own state from exporting anything to other states. Some may also say, okay, should that be the case, then we are going to stop exporting outside our state. But in a more greater tragedy will be those farmers that have borrowed money, would the states be able to pay the costs that will allow them break even in order to be able and be in a position to repay their loans? That is a very huge question. Is that possible? How do you deal with that? How do you deal with people that have chains of businesses running in their various states, in their various localities, who have a supply chain from these states? Suddenly, they woke up. There is, okay, Prof, you're back.
Yeah. The thing is, like I
Sorry.
said,
Mm,
the governor's reaction was just to be seen as doing something, because there was a riot, a public interest over high cost of
mm,
food, in particular in the state in Mina, the
mm,
state capital. And there were hundreds upon hundreds of women in that protest. In fact, they led the protest. So as the governor is being reactive, he needs to be seen as doing something, as being responsive. And he thought there should be a scapegoat for the rising cost of food in Niger State in the form of the food being bought by traders outside the state.
mm.
And if he could give an order that that should stop, perhaps being seen as doing something is people who have empathy for him, that, oh, our governor is not folding his arms. So I see that as a public relations response. A public relations response is to cajole the public that, look, I take your suffering very serious, and I'm taking some action. But it's not necessarily a well articulated response. It's not necessarily a response that will produce results. It's a knee-jerk reaction. So we need to see it in that light. That order he made doesn't make any sense. You must call a spade a spade. Nigeria has a market and is an integrated one. If the law books are clearly checked, are clearly perused, I want to believe that there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections in our body of laws that would make what he has done clearly illegal. Because there is freedom of movement and there is freedom of economic activity among Nigerians.
Okay. So I think your network again. Prof, I think your network again, it's done that once once more. So let me see when you're back. Then I can let let me know when you're back. I can bring you back again. You know, let me while I'm waiting for Prof to come. So let's take some comments. Let me take some of your comment. CEO says public relations response of paupers. Come on, guys. That's a whole state. Do not call them paupers. That's the largest state in Nigeria. Okay. So I know that many people, some of you, don't necessarily like that which the governor had said. Prof, are you back? Okay, Prof is not yet back. Let's still wait as he comes back. Again,
Should
when we look at it, okay, yeah, Prof is back now. Prof, I can see you're back.
I've been
You're back
speaking.
now. No, you are frozen. That's the thing.
It's that you don't know where you are off. I just kept talking. But the point I was making is that if we examine our law books carefully, it will be found, I'm very sure, in more than 4 or 5 places, a provision that makes its declaration, the order of that governor that they should not take food out of the state, illegal. And if I do not know any such piece of law, being not a lawyer, at least I know 2 international documents on it to which Nigeria is a signatory. One is African Charter on Human and People's Rights. The other one is United Nations Universal Declaration on Human Rights. If you check both documents, there are articles that gives the right to people to pursue their legitimate businesses, which includes buying and selling of foodstuff. There are clauses, articles that guarantees freedom of movement. So that hinders freedom of movement. You cannot come into this state and buy food, and if you do, that is taking away the right of people to earn a livelihood. Those who are dealing, who for decades are going, who have their customers in Niger State, and they go there to foodstuffs. And those who take foodstuffs there, what about those who take foodstuffs like palm oil? I know someone in Okada where I'm speaking to you, a Niger State man, a Nupe man, who buys palm oil and gari here, and forward to Niger State. So is he going to allow palm oil from Edo State and gari, that yellow gari, to come into Niger, while denying dry fish from Niger State from coming to this place, and denying us guinea corn and other things have? So, or the cows, or that they rear there, is going to deny us. So if every state government does that, then we are breaking the country. It's tantamount to an attempt to break the country, because the moment you are trying to create economic silos, state by state, it means we are no more one country. If you go to Niger State to buy goats, or to go and buy guinea corn or soya beans, then it means the country is we are anymore. So I think what he has done is palpably unacceptable, and I believe is illegal. At least those 2 documents I've mentioned clearly shows.
Okay, now
to which Nigeria is signatory, clearly shows that any attempt to hinder people from earning a livelihood is illegal.
Okay, now we have been, this government is about 8 months now, and there is a lot happening. We met a couple of weeks, about 3 weeks ago, about 2-3 weeks ago in Abuja. And recall one of the conversations we were having then was you and I were so scared as to where to go in Abuja now without being kidnapped. There was a time, obviously, crime rate in Abuja was not necessarily being kidnapped, but bomb could explode at any time. Yes, we are no longer in that era. Now, if you take that this government that came in and said they are going to take over from where the previous government stopped, and the previous government touted themselves as those that have fought insecurity to a standstill. Do you, in your considered opinion, think that in the last 8 months, this government has given its best in fighting insecurity in Nigeria? Prof, are you there? Prof, did you hear me? Did you hear the question, Prof? This is your network this evening. Okay, you're somewhat back. Did you get the question, Prof?
I didn't get your question.
Oh, okay. I said, in terms of insecurity, this government has been 8 months in office. Do you think that they've given their utmost best in fighting insecurity, considering that Abuja, that's considered to be secured before, has now become insecure, and other parts of Nigeria have seen the continuation of something that many considered before the headsman insecurity. Now we have a southern president, the same insecurity has continued. Do you think that this government are really giving their best in terms of security in Nigeria?
Well, the government is in its 9th month. After this month was left 3 months to make 1 full year since this government came into power. Given the fact that one of our chronic problems was insecurity when President Tinubu assumed office, one would have expected that by now he would have laid out a very clear methodology to fight insecurity. But as far as I'm concerned, he hasn't really done that, except he's doing so in secret. But to the rest of us, not the government, he hasn't said anything. Are you there, Maazi?
Yes, yes, Prof. I'm here.
Okay. The moment I couldn't see you, because each time I'm told I'm not being heard, you always disappear. So
No, it's fine. I'm here.
okay. So the point is,
It's like NEPA.
for
It's like
instance,
NEPA has taken.
yeah, something like that. But we keep on improvising. This is Nigeria. We keep on improvising. I think by now the president should have sent a bill to the National Assembly on state police. It's quite obvious that existing police apparatus that is unitary, the centralized federal police, is inadequate to secure this country internally. And therefore, devolution of power, which everybody has been calling for, should have been one of the major first steps the president should have taken the moment he assumed office. But as at this moment, nothing tangible has been done in that regard. To set up a constitutional committee, police.
Okay. One more time. Serious network issue coming from Prof there. Serious network issues coming from Prof there. So what we're going to do, because this is a Friday Hangout, we are going to be sharing the link for some of you who may wish to contribute to this conversation to come in to do so. If you wish to join us, in the comment section, you will see the link to join. Now, there are precursors to joining us, please. If you're going to join this Friday Hangout conversation, please make sure you are
order to go and do this. They are always given marching order. And then at the end of the day, you see things happening that gives you the impression that we are back to square one. You know, look at the string of kidnapping in Abuja. Maazi, can
Yes, Prof, go ahead. We can hear you.
hello?
I can hear you loud and clear, Prof. Go ahead. I can hear you.
Maazi,
Yes, go ahead. I can hear you. Go ahead. You're good. Prof, go ahead. I can hear you. Go ahead. Hello, Prof. Go ahead. I can hear you loud and clear.
I'm with you. I'm talking.
Yes, I said go ahead. I can hear you.
Hope you can. So, by now, the bill on state policing should have passed second reading at the National Assembly, have been passed. An executive bill, you know, but nothing like that. And everybody is talking about it. If there is anything we have attained a national consensus on in this country today, it's on the need for state police. Everybody is agreed on that. So it's not about anybody in one fanciful suggestion. Northerners, state governors, traditional rulers from south, east to west, they have advocated for it. But the president is following that Buhari tragedy. While the country will be agitating, do something, do something, do something, the president will do nothing. And I don't know why. I just don't know. Is it that President Tinubu doesn't understand the need for devolution of policing power in the country? Or he doesn't believe in it? And we were fooled to think he's a man for restructuring? So I don't just understand. That is why I'm not taking anything they are saying serious anymore. Because if you give power, look at even the Amotekun that was formed and the similar outfits. They are not allowed to use proper guns. These people who are more or less risking, who used to kill rabbits and rats with sticks. And now they say that they want to go and hunt lion. And he's still carrying the sticks and machete, entering the forest of lions. That is what it means. These people that they put that used to, chase local thieves are now going to be facing bandits that are really, that in actual fact are well-trained military that use sophisticated. Some of them rocket launchers in case they want to bring us or whatever to the jungle where they are. They have rocket launchers there, anti-aircraft missile. They carry it, and these are the set of people that yes, our all these Amotekun are going to meet with double barrel gun. So the president hasn't done well at all.
But when you look at Buhari when he came in as much as Buhari was criticized that it took him about 6 months or more to constitute his cabinet. The moments he did, Buhari forwarded a bill within the first, the moment the National Assembly was constituted. There were a couple of bills that executive, that emanated from the executive that he forwarded. And you're right. When people begin to think and just oppose this to the former government, it appears that, when people actually said Buhari didn't do well, and understanding and thinking actually that Tinubu sold to Nigerians that he was assembling eggheads, it appears the heads doesn't resemble anything near egg. Many have said that they look like coconuts in terms of what they have done actually for the past 8 to 9 months now. It appears the government hasn't really done much. I see there, Prof. You're you're frozen again. Okay, we have someone join us also in the studio. That's Festus Osifeso. Festus, while Prof is for some reason is delayed in transmission, I'm going to be bringing you in and to take your view. Festus, you're welcome to Njenje Media TV.
Hello, good afternoon or good evening. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah. So, what's your take? You've heard the conversation that I have with the professor here.
Yeah, I've heard everything that's actually going on. I wasn't actually gonna, I guess, comment on that. I was gonna ask you a question
Okay.
in the sense
So, if
that where do you think all of this is leading to? The insecurity, food shortages, declining the naira value, this Fulani hegemony born to rule, and
no,
our
no, no, no. Sorry, sorry. I think such narrative wouldn't necessarily help because when you say Fulani hegemony, the president is not Fulani, the vice president is not Fulani. So I don't know
oh
where you're driving that to.
I understand that the president is Yoruba, vice president is Kanuri from Borno State, but we can't deny the fact that not all Fulanis are bad people. Not all Fulanis are. There are many good people everywhere. But the insecurity with the Fulani bandits, Boko Haram, and the inept governors that we have everywhere, where do you think what do you think Nigeria's future outlook is going to be? We can't deny that the country's on the brink. So where do you think this is going to end? Because we in the diaspora, maybe me, I can't speak for everyone. I might say I'm well read in Nigeria's history, before colonization to colonization, after independent period. We all agree the country is failing. Food is expensive. The economy is literally on the brink of collapse. So where do you think this is going to lead to in the future?
Well, to your question appears as if one is a soothsayer. No one, I do not know where that will end. I do not even think that our security agents and strategists know where that will end. Neither do I think that the one who is the current president also knows where that is going to end. But that's one thing is very clear that things are not, right as it is. Things appear to be getting from bad to worse. I mean, if you, in as much as the naira has been floated, if you look at the way the currency has nosedived, it doesn't really confer confidence. If you look at insecurity, when many will say Buhari, a Fulani man, that his kit and kin ran rampage, then the question is, you now have non-Fulanis in power. So are they incapable of caging the headsmen that are causing trouble? And by the way, it will be an aberration to also say that the insecurity in the country is not only done by the Fulanese. You still have Igbo criminals everywhere. Across board is irrespective, and I think you agree with me. I don't know where you joined us from, but irrespective of where in the place where you reside, irrespective of whoever commits crime, that individual should be brought to book. Obviously, you are not in a country where you have people of, that is predominantly from the people of your like color. What that means is they don't give a hoot if the crime was committed by white, black, yellow, green. And it's what many of us have actually advocated for, being able to punish anyone who engages in crime, be it someone who invades a farm, someone who engage in any form of sexual crime, someone who engage in kidnap, robbery. It doesn't matter. Crime is crime. Are we able to do this? And these are things that I believe, as a nation, that we should be thinking of how to deal with. But again, to your question, and to be fair, how that would end, Nobody knows. It might be that actually, we might wake up one day, something may happen that may put Nigeria back in the right trajectory, but we don't know. Prof, are you there? Prof is still frozen. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I think one day
Hmm.
I'm of this notion that maybe Nigerians are very docile. So we'll get a breaking news one day where it's not going to be good. Um, there is a book called The Coming Anarchy. This was written in I think in the 1980s or 1990s, and they wrote about the Soviet
The
Union.
Coming Anarchy, recommended by Professor Patu to me.
Yes, I like Pat. He told me he says a lot of
Yeah,
interesting stuff. For the
I think he recommend. I think I have that book here, written by. The book is somewhere here.
yeah.
The Coming. I understand what you're
So
saying, but
so so the book is written by maybe European American or someone, and they
yes.
talked about all this stuff going on globally. But in Nigeria, they mentioned just places, Muslim Christian clashes over there. And they said this book was written a very long time ago, but they predicted if Nigeria fails, all of West Africa is toasted due to the sheer population. You talk about Benin, Togo, Ghana, they would have to do with a huge refugee crisis. And the
Okay, hold on. I
humiliation.
think. Sorry, hold on. I think Prof have joined us now. Prof, you're welcome back. Prof, can you
I have
hear
to
us?
change my internet source.
Yeah, I think that's been the source of your problem.
I can hear you.
Okay. So, to the question that I asked you before the your internet went, bad again, we talked about, or rather, you were talking about you were responding to the question that I asked, regarding the performance of this government as concerned security before your internet went ballistic once more.
Yeah, I'm
Are you
with
there?
you. Re-
Ah,
Can
okay.
you go? You repeat the question.
Yes, I would do that, but it appears your internet is still, because it was still breaking, but it's fine. Um, we just quickly need to round up then. So, Prof, uh, up, apparently this government, from what you have said, haven't given you that much confidence. There is not something structurally that you've confirmed by ways and means of saying they are taking these XYZ bills to the National Assembly. They haven't done that. There is no confidence building in the way and manner they have done, be it the executive, the judiciary, and the legislator, um, whom we have seen how they also expended 160 million naira each to buying these vehicles that they bought for themselves. Prof, just supposing
Wow,
I'm putting
the
all these
internet is.
things. Sorry, so is that still breaking, Prof? Okay. Um, sadly, your internet does not allow for a free, uh, a free flow conversation. I would say thank you very much for joining me, Prof. So thank you for joining me, and I hope to bring you back on a different date. Okay, he's he's come back again. Now let me, Prof, if you can hear me, because your internet is problematic this evening, can you give us your concluding thoughts,
Please
just in
continue
summary,
with the
so that
other
we can?
speaker,
That's what I'm saying.
the
If you, because
audience.
your internet is, yes, if you because your internet is giving us problem, can you give us your concluding thoughts to this topic and conversation we have had today?
Well, I think the president should convene a national security summit because his government apparently doesn't seem to have the answers. Yes, National Security Summit, and let it be a multi-stakeholder engagement so that academics, retired practitioners, serving practitioners in the security sector, you know, various committees of the National Assembly responsible for the military and security agencies, we all be there, and then we engage ourselves. The vulnerable communities, we also send their representatives. Because what is happening seems to be an organized crime. It's not something, I'm talking about this banditry afflicting our food baskets nationwide. Why is it that the targets are those places where they produce bulk food? In the Southwest, they are in Yewa, they have displaced over 5,000. They are in the Okeogun, which produced the intervention of somebody like Sunday Igboho. These are the food baskets of Yoruba nation. Why is it that it's those places that they are targeting? And they unleash maximum violence. They will rape women, men, kill people, burn down their houses, burn down their barns, in a way that would make you realize that there is more to this. If these are just people after what they can get, they will do the kidnapping and go. But why do you start burning people's houses and then killing them, including babies? It means that you are getting at something. You don't want them to farm again. You want them to be scared of ever, even if they want to return, they have no homes to return to. So that is to tell any government that knows its onions that we are under siege, a calculated siege, and the ultimate outcome targeted is this food insecurity. And that is what is happening right now. So if you have that understand, so my own thinking is let the government, if they don't know what to do, convene a national security summit. That's my last word. So that Nigerians
No, but sorry, before I let you go, you alluded to the fact that we are under siege, and you are a professor professor of political science that is also the director of Buratai Center for Strategic Security Studies. So that meaning this is your forte, actually. If you say we're under siege from who? Who is behind that? Under Buhari,
well,
we
from
accused
those who
the Nigerian society accused the Fulani headsmen. Now Buhari is no longer there, but there appears that this thing is not abating. In the Middle Belt on the Christmas Eve, we saw what happened. After that, the same continues. So from who? These people are not faceless. So why does it appear that the government appears incapable of dealing with them?
That is why I said let it be an open, free-for-all engagement, so that people like us can go there, and if we are not invited, if they ask for memoranda, we can forward it to them. Because this is not rocket science. The areas that are under siege are well known. I'm not saying they don't attack other places. If you can secure Zamfara, secure Southern Kaduna, secure Plateau and Benue, particularly their food-bearing local governments, secure part of Taraba and the parts of Niger State, we won't be talking about this food insecurity now. If you secure Okeogun in Oyo State and Yewa in Ogun State, those are purely food-producing areas. So there is a pattern to it. And if government is serious about fighting it, the first thing to do is to ensure that all those areas are garrisoned, to make them impenetrable for all these people that are displacing people, killing people, destroying farms. So far they've done that. They leave those who are in IDP camp, who are farmers in Benue State, 1.5 million of them, they leave them to be in the cities. And they are doing nothing about their return. They are not making any provision, and these are farmers. Then the government doesn't know what is. And while those ones are there, are being added, because more people are being killed in those farming communities. You saw what happened on the Christmas Eve in Plateau, and the manner in which it was carried out. They said they made over 35 distress calls to various security and military formations while the things was going to start. Before it even, intelligence had gone out. And then they came and people were still making distress calls and nothing has happened. And up till now, how many people have been arrested? You see people that spoke openly that they knew those who attacked them, names of some of them. Have they been debriefed? What about the commanders in those corridors for the various security agencies? Have they been questioned? That when all those calls, distress calls were coming, what did you do? Or they are still in their positions, being given more funding and more equipment. So when a government is serious, you will see that their heads will roll and some people will be facing court martial. That what did you do? The calls that are made can be tracked. The various phone numbers that are given to members of the public to call when they are in distress, they were called. And there are evidence, the logs are there to confirm who received those calls and what did they do. You cannot, we can't. That's why I believe the government is unserious. It's unserious. There are people within the security system itself that are collaborating. And even the people of the victims, they do tell us that these are people they call soldiers. I've seen state governors making direct accusation at our security agencies. You've heard of General T.Y. Danjuma, who warned us about 4 years ago that the security agencies are collaborating with these criminals, that they are colluding. Governor Otom alleged the same thing. He's a chief security officer. He was a chief security officer of his state. Governor Muftwang of Plateau is saying the same thing today. So what do? Call a national security summit if it's because you are run out of ideas, and let all stakeholders be there to proffer solutions, because they make it look like this thing is so complex and difficult. You have a police that cannot secure the country internally. The Nigerian army is now overstretched nationwide. They are doing checkpoint. If you go to Okada Junction, where not too far from me, you see military checkpoint there. It's because of them that we are able to be in this place. Because nobody has faith in the police anymore. Police that when they hear the sound of a type of gun, they will be the first to run away in their patrol van and tell you that this is not the type of thing they can wait for. Then it has happened to me. And I challenged them. And the next thing I heard was that if you repeat that thing, I'm going to bang you now. Because we all we were in a long we parked in the bush. So many vehicles, they said they were robbing, that there was some violence going on ahead of the road, only to see a police patrol van also parked with us. And they had guns. So I was pissed off. So I now said, OC, you are supposed to lead us so that we follow you in our convoy. He told me that if you repeat that thing you just said, if you are not listening to the nature of the guns, you think I don't know what I'm doing. If you are not hearing the nature of the gun, and you say I should go there, I will first eat you before I go. That was police officer told me. You know, so nobody has faith in them. I'm telling you this. Nobody. So the government cannot, the federal government cannot maintain the police. Even is the state, many of the so-called state command of the Nigerian police, is it not the state governments that are funding them? It's the state government. If you see them buy any new patrol van, it's the state government that gives it to them. If you see them build any new police station, it's the state government. A place where you will go to, they will ask you do you have a functioning pen there? They don't even have pen to write your statement. You have to quickly go and buy.
And buy your own foolscap sheet.
And your foolscap sheet you pay. And then If you are going anywhere, you provide fuel. That's if they have vehicle. Or you go and bring your fuel. You are going to bring your vehicle. So is that how police function in other places? That's even when you are with them. So you are the one that will have to go and arrange their logistics to the scene of crime, not you sending distress signal and them reporting. You are the one to go there and provide them logistics. Is that how they function in England or function in
Prof,
France?
Prof, before I let you go, sitting down here listening to all this and considering that for 8 years, Nigerians underwent this under Buhari, and for the past 8 months, now getting to the 9th month, Nigerians appear to have no succor. Do you think this has something to do with the incompetence within the APC as a party, or that Nigeria, somewhat keeps making bad decisions as it concerns its leadership?
Well, my brother, it's about incompetent leadership at the top. The incompetent people, by hook or crook, find themselves in position of power, and they are unable to do their jobs as expected of someone in their position. That is what has been happening. I don't expect somebody like President Obasanjo to be in charge as president and all these things will be happening. He will have arrested it. Whatever you may have against him, I'm very sure he will have done something. That is it. Look at even President Yaradua tried. The major security challenge he faced was militancy in the Niger Delta. When he came, he employed the non-kinetic approach by declaring a presidential amnesty. Anybody who has carried arms and is willing to surrender it, you are forgiven. We are not going to go into the past. Nobody will be prosecuted or arrested. And there will be carrots for you. If you lay down your arms as a young man, if you want to acquire skills, we are going to give you the training. If you have what it takes to go to university, we will send you to university. And it introduced what is called the Presidential Amnesty Program. I trained over 1,000 of those ex-militants as university students. Some, I remember on one single admission, 300 were sent to Alabama A&M University from Nigeria. Some were sent to Florida and other places in Europe as pilots. Some embarked on vocational training, underwater welding, and they are, living a decent life, earning money from the oil companies that wants to build platform on the IC. They are the ones who will go under the water to provide the pipes and weld them together, etc. And our oil production that has declined to about 800,000 barrels per day started climbing steadily, over 1 million and almost about 2 million. Because the guys in this case were not out to even kill anybody. If they kidnapped oil workers, it was not to extort ransom. It was not to kill them and said, this is the first warning. If you don't bring money, we are going to kill the next batch. They never did that. They only did what they did to draw attention to the plight of their people who are unable to fish anymore because the water is polluted, who are unable to farm because oil spillages have destroyed their farms. So it was a righteous cause. Chairman Mao said there are broadly two types of war, the just and the unjust. Theirs was a just war. And President Yaradua interrogated it and felt this is, and even when he invited the boys to Aso Rock, and some of them were being rude to him, he kept his calm. He told them that whatever you say, that I accept it. Nigeria has been unfair to you. And he told them he was going to establish a whole ministry for Niger Delta affairs so that at any given time, under any government, the issue of Niger Delta will be always on the cabinet table. And he did. And militancy substantially stopped. 95% went away. So that is another president who understood the challenge of insecurity he confronted and dealt with it squarely and fairly. But we cannot say the same of Buhari and the current president so far, because the challenges they are facing is not militancy in the Niger Delta, it's stealing of oil. They have hired private security companies to help them. And the private security companies are telling them that the people stealing the oil are in government. They are in the military. That
Yet they're doing nothing about it.
It's not outsiders that are stealing this oil or gas. They are in the Navy. They are in the army. But we have not seen anybody being interrogated. And up north, where you have the problem of banditry percolating down to the south, how many of these people have been arrested, interrogated? You will just hear these charlatanistic government officials telling you they know the people behind this form of insecurity or the other. Under Buhari, we were told that those sponsoring terrorism, they have a list from United Arab Emirates. Till that good-for-nothing government left office, they never exposed anybody. The United Arab Emirates even released some names. Our government never did anything about it. So you can see that something is wrong somewhere at the highest level of government. Why is it that their hands are always tied to tackle this thing? A old Commodore, Air Commodore, retired, who was a top intelligence goon, came on live TV and said they knew those who were behind this form of insecurity or the other. They have their file, they have their file, they profiled them, made it to the commander-in-chief. They did nothing. The next thing they did was to summon him to Abuja, Defense Intelligence Agency. Then his lawyer, Femi Falana, followed him. Nothing has happened since then. And you see a minister said, those who are using violence to extract mineral illegally, that they know them, that they are powerful individuals, they have their names. I quickly felt like thrown up when he was saying it. I told somebody beside me, I said, he will never say them. He will never mention their name. It's just cashing cruise with us, as some people will say. And to date, he has not said anything. Who are these powerful, invincible, and invisible individuals? So when you see the body language of a government, you know that these ones are also here to mark time. People that don't want to rock the boat, it means that they have other agenda other than the national interest. They want to maybe just, I don't want to go too much into difficult things, so let's just enjoy our time. You can never solve this thing in one day. Another set of people will come and solve it. I think that's the kind of thing I'm saying. I've given you different silos that they even said they know those who are behind on the heel of this bombing in Ibadan. They said they know those who are behind these things. And the Minister of Solid Minerals was the one, Dele Alake, who said it. Go and Google. He said they know them, that they have intelligence report on them. Is that what a self-respecting official of state says? What have you done since you have the intelligence report? Have you deployed security agents to go and get them arrested and interrogated and publish them or parade them publicly? You've not done that. And now here we are, you see collaboration with criminals against your own people in Plateau. The people are saying, the governor is saying, the military, the security agents should be questioned. The state governor is saying that, pointing accusing finger at them. Even the governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Zulu, I watched him live on TV saying that these things happening, that the security agents apparently are collaborating. You can go and Google it. He said it about 3 weeks ago. that why this thing is not going, that the security agents, they have role to play, that he knows what he's talking about, that they are conniving, that they should be questioned. These are state governors. They nearly killed Otom. Various attempts on his life. A president deployed he said he gave order to Inspector General of Police to relocate to Benue State and flush out the No, it was Benue that he said the Buhari used his own mouth to say it on TV. And he said, little did I know that he did not even obey the order. He did not go. He started laughing. I felt like crying. Eh? You gave order to your Inspector General of Police, to your so-called marching order to move to Benue to secure the place. And he did not go. And you are making a joke of it. You did not query him. No, you did not even suspend him. Not to talk of asking him to be put on orderly room trial. And then he retired peacefully. That shows that something is, maybe in that Aso Rock, there is some air blowing there that is not fit for good functioning of the brain or the mind. I don't know. Because the whole thing, it defies sound reasoning to imagine that you hear these things and you have a president and nothing is being done.
Your brother Ruben Abati called it the demons of Aso Rock.
You'll be afraid even when you are talking about this sort of thing. You'll be scared that, am I not being too militant with my patriotism? Am I not getting too zealous? Because the things are staring us in the face. You see local farmers telling you, don't go too fast. These security people, they are the people. They are the ones behind this. They are the one colluding. We've seen some of them, and then nothing is happening. Up to the point that you see serving security people talking, recording on video, ready to be court-martialed, that there is sabotage. General Tolagbe said the same thing. That here I am, I'm on the battlefront here. All the equipment I asked for, the backup I asked for, nothing is forthcoming. I've been here now for how long? You remember that general?
Yes, and he was court-martialed.
He was court-martialed. He was court-martialed. What type of country is that?
Now, you see, this is where I tell people we must be very careful to profile any ethnic nationality here. You see, we had issues in 2013, 2014. There was infiltration of the Nigerian army and the Nigerian security services. Abuja, we had bombings and a lot of insecurity happened under a president from the minority in the South. Then walked in a general, and many considered him a general, by the way. Some of us don't, because he didn't live up to that rank. Now, he presided over a catastrophic 80 years in terms of economy and security. Here we are under the Mungo Park of Lagos State, the one and the only person who is able to discover Lagos from its roots, and who had a master plan and a master strategies with eggheads coming. Now, we have successive, 3 different governments from 3 different, tribe, region of the country. Yet, the central theme that it's happened before keeps happening. The question, and that's what then probably leads to people when they agitate for a separate nation, thinking that that is going to be something that will give them succor, like obviously the Ibohos and co. Then the question is, is there anything apart from the national security summit that you've proposed? Is there anything fundamentally wrong with the entity itself? Because as it is, if a general cannot cure it, if an accountant cannot cure it, and the doctor cannot also cure it, a doctor, quote unquote, academic doctor. So, isn't that something fundamentally flawed with the system itself? Or there is something flawed with the people themselves?
Well, there is nothing wrong with the people. It's just that we have been unable to get the right kind of into power. That is it. I just cited the case of President Olusegun Obasanjo. He's a Nigerian. I cited the instance of President Musa Yar'Adua. Are they not Nigerians too? So it's just a question of not putting the right people there. There are people who value power more than the job that goes with the power. So they will rather, they will only go for points of least resistance. Anything that will require them exerting themselves too much, they won't touch it. They won't touch it because if you say people should not steal, do you steal? There's a passage in the Bible that says, you that say thou people should not steal, they should not fornicate, do you commit adultery? You that say people should not steal, do you rob? And so on. It was some set of rhetorical question. And it's pointing at one thing. If you have vested interest in criminality, in insecurity itself, you will not be able to do justice to the problems we are facing. That is the problem. Or you surround yourself with people of questionable character, people who have vested interest in the rottenness. For your information, this insecurity has produced billionaires in the military, in the security agencies, and among powerful individuals who are in the business of procurements. So how would people want that? These are what we call conflict entrepreneurs. I will call them insecurity entrepreneurs. People that feed fat when there is crisis. So those people line the corridor of power, I believe, and they are able to monitor what goes in and what comes out. Because because if those who are in power, who have dissected these problems clinically before they got in there and have promised that they will tackle it headlong, they now get in there and you cannot see change. Even simple steps like sending a bill to introduce state policing, they are not doing. Then you begin to wonder whether they have been captured by the forces of security.
That is a very fine place to anchor it, Prof. Thank you very much for being my guest this evening. We
Thank you very
appreciate
much. And I'm glad that towards the end, the internet behaved itself.
Yes, so thank you very much, Prof. As I say to you, good night. Yeah.
Good.
So that has been a conversation with Professor Femi Olufumilade, who joined me from Ibunedion, Edo State. The conversation continues, but before we call it a day, you had his take on these issues that it concerns security, and he said one thing that is very prominent, that the government hasn't given any form of confidence. The government hasn't shown any form of any iota of seriousness. A government has been in government for 8 to 9 months, yet no single bill to address all the maladies bedeviling Nigeria. But before I leave once more, I will want to welcome back Festus Osifeso. And Festus, once more, you're welcome back to Njenje Media. Before we round up, obviously you have heard the prof and your final thoughts before we call it a day.
Yeah, there's this question you asked the prof about who's responsible, um, either Nigerians or the leaders. And I totally agree with the professor in saying the leaders are responsible. Irrespective of that, I think Nigerian voters, we know election is actually a sham in Nigeria, but Nigerian voters that chose tribal sentiment to vote in someone who we don't know his name, his age, his identity, and proven track record of looting in Lagos State with nothing to show for. Those who chose tribal sentiment, Emiloko, they have huge responsibility also in regards to where we are now. Even though the election was obviously rigged, and we all know that, but there are many Yorubas, people of my tribe, who, we have a younger guy, and then you chose someone who's older. It's like you choose someone who's older, who is not mentally fit, physically fit, who has a proven track record of not doing anything for people other than steal money. So they also have blame in their hands. In regards to the insecurity going on in Nigeria, obviously, with a new president being in charge, and what is it doing? He's a Yoruba man, and we heard instances where Yoruba monarchs are being killed by bandits. And that tells you this guy doesn't care for his people, doesn't care for the nation, he doesn't care for anything. Um, it's terrible, living here in the US. And I think this past few years, I've been reading so much about Nigeria's history, and now we got to this point. At some point, we had great leaders in the past. You look at Obafemi Awolowo, you look at Michael Opara, and you see what they did. Even when we had military, um, they weren't mostly educated, but at some point they had good intentions for the country, despite their ills, lack of education and lack of foresight. We now get to the bastardization of Nigeria from Babangida's era, taking loans from World Bank, IMF, move that to Abacha's tenure. You have Obasanjo, you have Yaradua, but ever since then, people complained Goodluck Jonathan was a weak president. We wanted someone tougher. We had Buhari, who was far worse than Goodluck Jonathan. Now it's Yemi Cons. He's better. He can strategize better. And Naira is literally is far worse off than Buhari in matter of like 6 months. He has gone
But
far.
you guys in the diaspora, you're smiling. Obviously, if you just get $1,000 now, you'll become an automatic millionaire. So you have a 1.5 million back home. So aren't you guys rejoicing over the way the naira has been depreciating?
When can you repeat that question? When did that? What was the question? I heard everything
Yeah, I
about
say
dollar
you guys
value.
in the diaspora. Obviously, you mentioned that the naira is depreciating,
Yeah,
and I said, the way you are now, you have $1,000. That makes you a millionaire in naira, right?
yeah,
That's gives you about 1.5 million.
yeah.
Are you guys not happy that dollars, is really take beating naira so much that if you get $1,000, it's going to make you a huge amount of money back home?
That's very interesting. Are we smiling? So, what I know about
Obviously,
Nigeria.
you are.
So what I know about Nigeria, I grew up in Nigeria. I left Nigeria when I was in SS. After I finished SS2, but Christmas holidays, Easter holiday, we go to our grandparents' house. 3 story or 2 stories, right? All my cousins were out there, uncles, aunties. They bring cow, chicken. We enjoy, we celebrate, we do knockout banger. Awesome. And I go home every time, maybe every 2, 3 other years. My mom does business, she was, relatively successful in what she was doing, work, go home, celebrate. I went back to Nigeria January of 2023, last year, January. Went to my grandpa's house. The house is a museum, it's a zoo. There's nothing going on there. Where are my cousins? They've all jackpot. I called them, some are in the UK. They are working as slaves, doing 12-hour job, 12-hour work in the UK, cleaning people's mess. It dawned on me like this country is a mess. Am I smiling? Two of my sisters finished college in the US and they went back home to, business. They think Nigeria is where they belong and they are working out doing business. My mom is still there. But to see the toll in Nigerians, it's terrible. To land in the airport, to see people asking you for money, driving home, the destitution, the poverty capital of the world, the slum capital of Lagos. It's not something to be happy about. As much as we might be doing well here in the diaspora, home is home. I don't think anyone who is true to who they are should be happy that their country, their nation back home is a mess. We read news every time, they took loans here and there, they share the money amongst themselves, they buy new SUVs. When we have innocent making vehicles, they should patronize local made stuff. No, we want to import stuff. It's sad. And when you even bring your dollar, take your dollar back home to Lagos, you want to enjoy life, you go to the island, you find out that even in the island, Lekki, VI, it is more expensive than here in the US. You want to have a good time, you want to go to a club, you can have a good time in, in clubs in Houston and see better looking girls, but you go to Lagos, all the girls are prostitutes, everything is overpriced, your money can't even go far. I know a lot of guys that send money back home and they would tell me, man, people are hungry. Like people, it is not it is grotesque. So it's not something anyone should be happy about or smile about. It's terrible. At some point, the children of the poor would have to eat the children of the rich when food hunger gets too much.
Okay, thank you very much, Festus, for joining. And this is the place to anchor it. And I thank you once more for being part of this program. Thank you. So, people, that's the much we can take for this evening. Join us on Sunday as we will be bringing you the a joint program with Dr. Damages. We'll be bringing you the live commentary of the Nigerian match, the final match. Now, I'm telling you now ahead of time, it is good to watch it live here with us in order not to suffer any form of heart attack, because we will find better ways to make it very, very good for you. On that note, I say thank you once more for being part of it. Henceforth, for the year 2024, every Friday, 7 o'clock, that's going to be my Friday Hangout. Obviously, because of the festive season and some distractions last year, towards the Q3, Q4 last year, we could not have a regular Friday Hangout. But things are much better in place. I promise that I will do that. And if time permits, I'll still remember to get us our street parliament on Saturdays, 7 o'clock. So tune in here on Njenje Media TV every Saturday, 7 p.m., Friday, 7 p.m. for Friday Hangout and Street Parliament. Street Parliament is where we'll give you the voice. Every person on the street, your street can be your bedroom. It can be anywhere you are. We'll have to talk to the world, and the world has to listen to us. I am still your host, Maazi Ezeoke, and to tell you that Nigeria indeed had gone from top to bottom. On this note, I say good night.
ABC Nigeria from top